Hey YouTube land, Taekwondo there, doing another action figure review, and today we're having a look at one of the more recent Joytoy figures that was released, and this is part of their Nickelodeon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle line. Even though it's not based on a character from a specific cartoon or anything like that, it is based on a character from the series, but it's their own sort of interpretation on this character, similar how they've done the other figures in this line. I did have a look at the April, I believe I had a look at the April figure. I do have the Turtles, I have Shredder, and I have the Foot Soldier. But I haven't gotten around getting those. I need to pick up Splinter, Bebop, Rocksteady. Ooh, the line has really built up. So there's Bebop, Rocksteady, Krang, Splinter, and Slash are the ones I haven't picked up yet that have been released. There is Casey Jones on the way, I believe. I remember seeing an image for a Casey Jones figure, and I'm not sure who else has been announced. So here is the box for the character I'm reviewing today, which is Tokka. So if you're not familiar with Tokka, he is essentially, the best way to describe him is he's kind of Slash but on steroids. His original version, or original kind of concept version, was released as part of the sequel movie, which was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Secret of the Ooze, which was the second movie that came from the live action series. That was, I believe, where he was first incarnated. I could be wrong, but it was Jim Henson's Creature Designs brought him and his cohort or partner in crime, Razar, to life. And he's kind of a pseudo... They kind of didn't want to go with Bebop and Rocksteady for some reason, so they brought in Tokka and Razar, and they kind of based Tokka off a little bit more of Slash from the cartoon. He was a snapping turtle of sorts, similar to what Slash was. Even the original figure, now I don't have the original figure, but the original Tokka figure was a heavily retooled version of the Slash figure. It even came with some of the same accessories, I believe. But this guy comes with a whole host of accessories, which we will get into, but this is the box. Unfortunately, I got mine from Locker Toys, formerly known as LTK, formerly known as Locker Toys. Unfortunately, there's a big sticker over half the box on the back, as you can see here, but it does showcase the figure in different poses and stuff like that, so it is kind of cool to see that. And then you have an image of the figure on the side. You just have legalese stuff on the opposite side. You have the Turtles logo on the bottom of the box, and then you have the same thing flipping around onto the top of the box. So the box is fairly straightforward. It's a window style box packaging. The figure is encased in it when you get it, and it's on 2 trays, so when you open it up you kind of separate the trays and you're able to take out all the parts. So bear with me a moment, we will have our figure all set up and all these accessories, because there's quite a bit to go through, so hopefully you will stick it out and have a look at all the accessories this guy comes out with, some of which are pretty cool. So bear with me a moment, we'll get all set up. And here he is in all his glory. So I'll start with his bases first, because they're the most simplistic of the accessories, and then we'll go from there. So as with the Foot Soldier and Shredder, and with the Turtle figures, he comes with 2 versions of a display base. So you get this kind of more detailed display base, or you get a flat display base with the Foot Clan logo on them. And as you can see, this is one of the ones that comes with the Turtles. The Turtles one just has Turtles on it. Now for the individual Turtles, they don't have any names for each turtle on the base, so it's just a flat Turtles or hero base across the board. Whereas same thing with the Foot Clan stuff, or the villain characters, they just have a flat kind of villain base with the red. With the Foot Clan, well, it's more the Shredder logo than the Foot Clan logo, because the Foot has the foot on it, but it is what it is. And as for the base, for this base, I'm trying to look around to see if I can find my other base, but I don't have it to hand. I thought I had it easily accessible. Ah, I do, actually. So, with the turtles, you got this style sewer lid base. You got the kind of red stone or red brick and the lid there, and they interconnect and they kind of form a throwing star. Now, it's not quite the same with the foot version or the villain version. You still have the interconnectivity. So here's bases that I have from the Shredder and from the Foot Soldier. Again, I have not reviewed them yet, but the idea is you would fit them together. Unfortunately, I only have 3 villains, so I don't have the full complete thing. But whereas you can see the Hero one kind of does look like a ninja throwing star, has that look to it. The villain one doesn't seem to have any sort of kind of distinct kind of feature setup for it. If I just flip around the back of the thing, you can see there's just a peg hole system and 2 tabs on either side, so they just kind of basically form later a circle. And then again, you have another different style version of a sewer lid with these kind of scrapes and nicks on the concrete or on the blocks that the figures stand on. You have 3 peg holes on the bases. In fact, it's actually more peg holes on the bases than you get with the turtles. Again, if I just bring back into turtle one, you can see the turtle one only has a single peg hole on the corners, whereas this one has 3 peg holes individually. So that is pretty interesting. All in all, that is pretty much it for the bases. We will hit up the accessory count. So Tokka has quite an accessory count, so we'll start with his hands first. Now I believe the default hands that come with him, because I've had him a small while, his hands have been swapped out around. I believe his default hands when you get him are the closed punchy fists. So you get a set of punching fists, both left and right, or closed fists. You have 2 outstretched hands, again both left and right. Then you have 2 trigger finger hands, and that comes into play for at least one of the accessories, which we'll get into in a minute. But you have a left and right trigger finger hand, and then the hands that are on the figure are the sword grip or the grip hands. So he does come with quite a few swords and quite a few accessories that require the grip hands. As you can see, he's holding a dagger in one hand. Well, I'd say it's more of a cutlass in one hand. He has a very pirate motif theme going on, and we'll have a look at that as well. And then he has this, I'm not sure if you call it a chicken leg or a drumstick. It looks kind of like a drumstick, but it's fairly big. So I'm not sure what you would count it as, but there's a chunk taken out of it. But we will have a little look at that in detail in a little bit. So we might as well start with his weapon count as opposed to kind of generic accessories. So he comes with 1 big shield. Now I believe this can be wielded on either hand. It just has a strap system that you put the hand on. The easiest way of doing this is put the hand onto this with the hand taken off. So if the hand is off the figure, we pop that onto this handle, and then you slip it through whichever one you have. So for the left hand, obviously I have the left hand off, slip it through and just pop it back on. And you can see he's wielding his fairly brutal looking studded shield, which looks like it would do a fair bit of damage to you should you get smacked in the head with it or smacked in the face with it. He does come with twin punch daggers. These are exact same molding, but they are fairly large punch daggers. At least that's what I would call these. They're kind of like the ones that you just hold in your hand. In fact, we'll swap it out with his other weapon. So you can get it to hold on. They kind of give a bit of protection up here, but they are essentially what I would consider punch daggers. So you have those. Yep. I'm going to leave his shield on for now. It's a little bit easier. He does come with two versions of the same cutlass, as in he comes with the same cutlass twice, or sword, short sword, whichever way you want to call it. They're fairly brutal looking ones as well. They have studded, nearly all these weapons have like, they have the lethality factor of them, but they also have additional lethal looks to them. Like they have, these ones have the extra studded guards, I suppose is the best way to do it. Like even these things have spikes going down it and everything like that. He does come with two short sword, or two daggers. Now these ones don't have all the extra kind of kibble that the other ones, but they're exactly the same, and they actually have holsters. I believe you can you put the short swords? No, I think these are, the holsters are designed specifically for the short daggers. So it does make him wielding all his, or sorry, storing all these weapons a little redundant, because he can't store everything he has, but he does have the storage for those two small daggers. Excuse me, is those two small daggers, which is pretty cool. We'll have a look at the figure eventually, but we'll try and get through all his accessories, because there's some other storage and stuff like that I want to go through. So the next piece, we'll have a look at that kind of big drumstick, or whatever you want to call it. You can see it's like a piece of junk, a big chunk of meat on a bone. As I said, I'm not sure if you would consider it a drumstick, or if you consider it something else, because it is so massive. But he does have that. He comes with a flintlock pistol, and again that has a bayonet attached to it to make it even more lethal than a standard pistol. As I said, he does have a very piratey theme going on. I'm not sure where that kind of comes from, because I wouldn't kind of put pirate and Tokka together in the same kind of vein, I suppose. But it is an interesting take on the character. You can see it has the kind of detailing for the flintlock piece on the one side, and it looks like it's made out of wood with the trigger, and it has that big blade on the front, again making it even more lethal than a standard one. And then he comes with this huge anchor, which is on a kind of chain. Now the chain isn't individual links, it's just the link that connects it to the actual base of the anchor. But this is another weapon that he does have storage for. So if I flip him around the back, so you can see there's these hooks on his back, and the idea is you kind of rest this anchor in between the two hooks. It's not the best of storage, but he does have it. So you can store this thing on his, across his back. So he does have storage for that thing, but he doesn't really have storage for his pistol or the bigger daggers, or the bigger swords, unfortunately. But or in the punch daggers, he doesn't have storage for them either, but it is what it is. Now he does come with even more accessories, because he has quite a lot, and you can see them here. He comes with a beer stein, I suppose is the best thing to call this thing. A beer stein with, I'm assuming, is some sort of beer or something foaming out from the top of it. Again, he can hold that in his grasp hands, or gripping hands. So, and you can even make it look like he's taking a swig out of it. So if I put his hand in place, we move his hand and his mouth, we can even make it look like, and open his mouth, because he actually has an articulating jaw, which we will again have a look at when we get into his articulations. You can make it look like he's taking a swig out of his beer, or whatever poison, as they say, he's drinking. And then for his final accessory out of the giant pile of accessories, he comes with a tiny mutated, it's still a mutant version of him, but it's like a baby version of him. Now this doesn't appear to be articulated, at least mine doesn't have any articulation points on it. It's just a straight up tiny version, kind of similar to how the Super 7 version of Splinter came with the tiny versions, the baby versions of the Turtles. I believe the Slash figure also comes with a small version of himself. You can see it even has the kind of snapping turtle shell on the back. and it is pretty tiny but also quite detailed. So, and it has some nice paint apps on it as well. It even has the same kind of wash on the front for the chest section, and the kind of dry brushing on the back where the shell is. So it, and the blacked out eyes, which is kind of cool. So all in all, he has a ton of accessories, and that's not even getting onto the figure. So I'm going to try and pop his hand out again, just so I can do the articulation. I'm going to put his punchy hand on. Come on, punchy hand. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to put his pistol trigger finger hand on. If I can get that on. Hands are on ball joints, as you can see. So that's one part of the articulation down. So for his articulation, he is quite articulated. So his shoulder pauldrons are on a ball joint to kind of give you a bit of wiggle room when you move the arms around. His head is on a ball joint as well, so you have a kind of, he doesn't have like a base neck swivel, but he does get some great side to side and great up and down. He has that articulating jaw, which can open up really, really wide. It does look a bit weird if you open it really too much, but like, it looks unnatural. But if you open it just kind of to a more natural posing, you kind of have that. So you can have him talking. He does have a diaphragm joint, and he also has a waist joint as well. His shoulders can go out that much. The shoulder pads don't really get in the way, except for when you're kind of rotating them 360, but they are kind of on a ball joint or on a kind of gummy joint, so you can try and get them out of the way. He does have the bicep swivel. He does have the shoulder joint. He does have he only has a single joint on the elbow, but again, it's a swivel as well. And those aforementioned wrist pegs, so depending which hand you have in, you kind of can go in, out, up and down. Now, there isn't a hinge on the wrist like in some of the figures, but it does give you a good range of movement. His belt is a separate piece, but it is kind of attached to his butt plate. So his kind of belt and lower crotch section is all one piece. He does have thigh swivel. He does have double jointed knees, which are a little hindered by these bands that go around his knees. So you will have that. I think these are glued in place on the knee. Yeah, they're glued in place here at the front. He does have rocker ankles forward and back. You can actually see the joint in the ankle and then the rocker, and then he has peg holes. He doesn't have the toe cut kind of articulation. They omitted that, which is not too bad. I kind of prefer that on these guys. I know the Space Marine figures have the toe or the boot cut type thing, or the toe articulation. I don't think it detracts too much from these guys. I think without it, he's a bit better. But all in all, he is a pretty beefy, chunky figure. Now, bring in tape measure so we can have a look, see what height he is. So these are 1:18 scale, but you can see he stands around just around 4.5 inches because of his height and because he's quite a chunky lad. I'll bring in some 4-inch scale figures to compare him to. So here is one of the older Spin Masters Harley Quinns. We'll bring in Leo from the same said line. You can see Leo, I think, is a little bit smaller than him, which is Leo's head height. He's about a head height higher than Leo. We'll bring in Cobra Commander from the kind of, it's the retro version Cobra Commander. So you can see the height of him. Bring in a Hiya Toys figure. We'll bring in, unfortunately, the only Star Trek figure I have from the Hiya Toys line so far, which is the Chekhov figure. And then from a galaxy far, far away, I know people want to see these guys, the mutants next to stormtroopers. Someone asked me on Facebook to take pictures of them next to a stormtrooper. So he's an older stormtrooper, but it should still be about the size of a current stormtrooper because they all kind of kept the scaling. Here he is next to a Star Wars stormtrooper, so he does tower a small bit over him. not too much. He's probably about like a head height, a couple of inches over the head on this guy. But like, even though it's a bit hard to see because he's standing in front of him, so we can get him to the side. He does, from my angle, look a little bit smaller than Tokka. I'm not sure how the camera's looking at it. He could be around the same height, but I think he's a smidge smaller. And do I have anything else? Might as well bring in another Joytoy figure, so you can see him in comparison with a Space Marine, albeit this is a Black Legion Chaos Space Marine. So you see the Space Marine is a good deal bigger than his mutant pal here. And then for one final comparison, and I won't do any more than that, I will bring in his, well, not his original counterpart, but his mutating original counterpart from the old line. So he's actually almost on scale with him. The only thing is the original guy is way more chunky because he has half a turtle stuck inside him, so that he transforms back into a small turtle, or well, not small turtle, but he transforms into a more turtle looking turtle as opposed to a mutant turtle. But this is the old mutating line. They did a whole bunch of figures in the mutating line. The turtles are one, and the they did Bebop, Rocksteady, and a bunch of other kind of characters. They even did a foot soldier, which I have, and it's actually one of my favorite foot soldier figures, which is the mutating foot soldier that changes from like an android. You can see all the robot bits, and then it kind of covers up stuff for that, but that's beside the point. So less waffling, more on the point. We will wrap this up here. But here is the Tokka figure from Joytoy. I do hope to get Slash, and I'm assuming they will do Razar, because if they're doing Tokka, it's kind of, you know, a given that they'll do Razar as well. And I hope we'll get many more figures down the line. There was talk of people, after seeing the recent announcement from Joytoy that they're doing a Space Marine Predator tank, they were thinking, people were going, if they can do a Space Marine Predator tank, it would be cool to see them do a turtle van for these guys, or turtle party wagon for these guys. That would be something to be cool as well, if they keep that line going as well and give us a turtle van for them. So there we go. He is a great figure. I'll throw a link in the description below to Locker LT Cave, where I got this guy. Hopefully he's still available. I know they seem to be selling out quite quickly, especially the Bebop Rocksteady figures sold out and haven't been reissued or restocked. I know the Turtles did a restock wave for the Turtles. April and Splinter, I'm not too sure, they're still available. Last time I checked at the time of this recording, and I think Krang and Slash were still available at the time of this recording, which I need to pick up at some point. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I hope you stuck it through all the way to the end. And as always, thanks for your patience, thanks for your time, and I hope you have a great day. Cheers, thanks for watching.